Órale, Cholo Trucker Wrestling Rehab. Shouts to all the junkies out there. So, in my first review on the McMahon documentary, I actually did a live with my boy G Funky from G Funky Boxing. Shouts to him. You guys can go check out his channel if you guys are into boxing. But we wanted to review every episode and do a live on it, but schedules is just gonna make it way too tough, man. So I'll just go ahead and just review it episode by episode like this. And I want to say it's been a while. So, episode two. Okay, so episode two, um, I thought was a lot better than episode one. And episode two, basically, for the most part, I would say maybe 65% of episode two had to do with Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. I was around at that time. I was a kid, so I was perfectly in the market that Hulkamania was after. Okay, and I was a little Hulkamaniac when they talked about WrestleMania one going to WrestleMania three, and basically when they switched all the way up to WrestleMania six. I did a video about this. Ah, heck, I don't know, quite a long time ago. Talking about just how huge that was when they wanted to pass the torch to the Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan coming out and saying that he wanted to do with Ultimate Warrior what Andre the Giant did for him at WrestleMania 3. That was a huge, huge moment. You had these two guys, Warrior and Hulk Hogan, title versus title champion, champion for champion, title for title. It was crazy, right? And I remember that vividly. Um, and then it got a little bit more on Hulk Hogan's career and the movie No Holds Barred. Look, say what you want to say about it. I still love it, man. To me, it's kind of one of those cult classics. I get it; it's pretty cheesy, but I really enjoyed it. And everything that it covers, even outside of Hulk Hogan, what it was covering, a lot of the scandals of steroid use, some of the stuff that I didn't know, right? Some of the stuff like the pedophilia. Now, everybody knows that Pat Patterson was gay, and I guess there was things going on, and I guess there was a couple kids that were coming out and saying that, hey, you know what, some of the guys are messing with us. Some of the top dogs. I didn't really hear anything, at least in the documentary. I didn't hear anything about wrestlers, but that some of the higher ups were messing with some of these kids, man. And the female referee, Rita something, I forgot her name. I want to say I do remember her being a referee. All right, because like today, there's quite a few females, but I do want to say I do remember her being a referee in the WWF at that time. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the lawsuits and courts and all that stuff went completely over my head for a few reasons. One of the reasons is I was a kid. So I didn't really care. I'm 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I don't, I didn't give a rat's ass. I didn't pay attention. And secondly, it's not like today. Today, you get a lot of information via social media. Some of it's bad information, by the way, but back then, you had to be reading newspapers. Man, I wasn't reading any newspapers at that age. I wasn't, to me, I was just watching the product. That's all I cared about. I didn't, at that time, I had no idea that Vince was going through any lawsuits. I had no idea he was going to court. I had no idea any of this stuff was going on, right? Some of the dirty stuff that the Hulkster did is being put out to light with Jesse the Body Ventura wanting to start a union because Vince is working these guys 7 days a week, 7 days a week all year long. Man, that is killing these dudes. And Hogan's, wanting to be in the good graces of Vince, he went and he ratted Jesse out. So I was like, wow, what a what a move by the Hulkster. But just so many things in this episode that really caught my attention where I'm like, wow, okay, all right. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting to a lot of this dirt that, like I said, unless you were reading the newspapers, unless you went digging around, because I guess there was only one guy that would write about the WWF and Vince McMahon, because so many other reporters were like, "Oh, man, you know what, man, we're gonna focus on real issues around the world, especially at that time. Wrestling was not looked at the way it is today. Okay, at that time, it was kind of looked at as kiddish, foolish stuff. Nobody's gonna pay attention to it. And maybe for that reason, they got away with a lot. But there was this one writer that just wouldn't let up. And wow, it was I can't wait for episode 3 now. Because this one really got me intrigued. And they're looking at Vince going to court. Um and looks like Hulk Hogan might go drop dime on homie. So yeah, man, I'm really digging the hell out of this documentary. So I will be back with the review of episode 3, Cholo Trucker Wrestling Rehab. Shouts to all the junkies. Catch you guys on next one.